When I help people pick instruments out, one of the things that I realized a really long time ago because of my training with Robert Marcellus and studying at Northwestern University and studying with first class great teachers was that you really need to understand how someone plays and literally how the sound comes out of their mouth, how it feels for them to blow, for you to understand what kind of instrument will work best for them. Because even though every single model appears to be the same, they're all black, right? That's part of the problem is that most people can't explain from a visual standpoint or in a concrete way what it is that they need in the instrument to sound and play their best. And a long time ago, I discovered this and realized that there were two parts to that. One was being able to clearly identify what those traits were that people were eager to find. And the second was to make sure that mechanically the instrument was in superb adjustment to be able to reflect what it actually was made of in terms of its color characteristics. So, as I've helped people over the years, I've asked them a lot of questions about how they voice and what notes they struggle with and how their playing has felt to them. And all of those things have been signals and clues for me to be able to identify what color characteristics they needed in the instrument based on their playing, as well as what kind of resistance they needed, how much they needed to blow against, for them to understand where their comfort level was to make that beautiful sound that was going to excite them and their audiences. And so in the last couple years, I codified it. And when you look at our site and you look at these color rings don't alter the instrument. They're identifying what the instrument is. They're like a codification system, an education system that relates to what you hear when you play on the instrument and how it produces sound. And so I wanted to just briefly tell you about these bands. This is red. Red means that the foundation of the instrument's color, how it voices, is bright. So it has a lot of highs in the sound naturally. Brown, which is what is on the serial clarinet, which is claro, which is brown and red. Brown means that it has a dark sound and that's a depth of sound that that instrument has. In other words, when you blow into it, you feel like you can produce a deep sound. So red and brown are actually the foundation of sound. It's people either need to tend towards needing something that is a little bit brighter, usually because their sound is a little bit darker and they need that balance. That's how you produce a wonderful sound. Or their sound is a little darker and they need something a little bit brighter to produce that color balance of sound. So red and brown are our initial foundation of colors of sound. And then from there, you can look at a variety of different shapes. One of them is green, which is smooth. And in modern day, instruments like the buffet tradition um, have rendered themselves with this kind of smooth quality of sound, which some people have really taken to, but is not in all instruments. It's a variety. Some instruments have that, but many do not. And not all traditions actually have that. Color characteristics are something that are as basic as the colors of the rainbow, which is why they're a good use of how I use these as a tool, in that they are very visual and very clearly defined. You can find them, but you can find them across a lot of different models. So with that in mind, the other shape of sound that some people need is big, and purple is big, right? Sometimes you have a big chested person, big cavity, someone with a big cavity, or somebody who tremendously overblows, and you need an instrument that feels like it will take an endless amount of your air to actually feel like you can make music and play with shape. And not all instruments, regardless of whether they are a buffet prestige or a Tosca, are that quality. That feeling of bigness does not come in every single instrument. You have to find it and identify it. There are two more that are related to color. One is orange, which represents ring, wah, 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 like a sense of reverberation, that feeling that the sound is moving forward. And the other is pink, and pink is sweetness. Sweetness typically comes in the form of a smaller shape of sound. So when you blow into the instrument, if you push too hard, it really doesn't speak very well. But if you don't push too hard, it has this nice little beautiful jewel ball of sweetness, and it plays very nicely on a small basis. And these are my color rings, and this is where our color banding theory comes from. To try to help people learn better. So it's an educational tool, it's a guide that we use and that we're actually hoping to teach to others because it applies across all instruments, and it also works to help a student really understand things about their playing that they would never be able to see before. And it's really exciting to have that happen when they're buying a new instrument. And this has been a technique that has been extremely successful for us and for our students and for our customers and for our teachers and for the people that we serve, because everybody can see how they sound now, because what they hear is becoming visual, which helps them to actually communicate better about what they're doing.